because we get to talk about a new show and a new hit show. Are you guys really liking Last Ship so far? It really is a bona fide hit. Season finale was just last week, kicking butt, and I love talking about a show like right after the finale. So, without further ado, you know this gentleman, of course, from the X-Files, from Firefly, from Chuck, and of course, he is the XO Mike Slattery of Last Ship. Please show your love for Mr. Adam Baldwin.
Thank you very much, and DragonCon is a wonderful place to be, I must admit. I finally, since it's Sunday, had a chance to relax with a couple of friends and really relax and have a little beer.
Yeah.
But thank you for being fans of Last Ship, man. We're really excited about it. We're really proud of it. We're inspired and honored to be a part of the Navy and the Marines that are aboard with us. It's just been great. And like I said, I'm humbled to be aboard.
Yeah, I mean, it really is an impressive show already, and congrats on the season 2 renewal, as I said backstage, and as all you guys are happy about.
Yeah, they gave us 3 extra episodes, so in my book, that's a raise.
Now, where is the floating microphone? Where are my microphone folks? Okay, so there are microphones over here, so guys, this is really going to be your time, so hop up and ask some questions, and I would kindly ask, keep it to 1 question per person so we can get through as many as possible. Keep it to an actual question, and no special requests and everything. Thank you, sir.
Some water.
I shall. I appreciate that.
At DragonCon, you must remain hydrated.
That is definitely true. When did you notice that Last Ship has really gained legs within the fan culture? I mean, look at all these fans out here. Was it just by watching ratings? Were you watching Twitter and like trending numbers or anything? But how did you gauge that this thing was really gaining steam?
Obviously, the network has been behind it 100%. Great ad campaign. They were synchronized with the creative component, our creators from Michael Bay and his team on down. And it's not too soon. Unlike a show that there's some hats representing, there was a lot of synergy. So the vision of the show was portrayed, and they got, like I said, they got behind it, they pushed it, and then people responded because, oh, hello, the awareness was there, people tuned in, and we always knew that we had a good product. There it is. That's what it's all about, man.
And they put on a pretty kick-ass party at San Diego Comic-Con on the, not the Intrepid, what was the name of that ship?
I didn't go.
You didn't go? I was there. I was there as Adam Baldwin, actually.
You were there? What was the name of the ship?
Damn it. We film...
they weren't serving booze on board, were they? No, they don't do that.
Well, there's a lot of booze elsewhere.
British ships apparently have beer.
Yeah.
From what I've learned.
Well, you filmed partially on ships in San Diego, right?
Yep. Do you have obstructed views back there? Just checking. Okay. Yeah, partially obstructed views. Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. Oh, over there too.
Yeah, you're back there too. Hey.
They're waving, but you can't see them wave. So. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Fenway Park.
But does
right?
that add to the realism of the show? Actually filming on ships instead of just entirely a soundstage?
It does. It was our boot camp. We got a chance to visit with the crew, the captains, the officers on down, the engineers, the E1s, E2s, the ones that were in trouble. So we got a sense of how we were to comport ourselves as best we can. And I come from. I didn't serve, but my dad did, so I try to honor that as best I can. And so, like I said, we're blessed to be, and being aboard a Navy guided missile destroyer. I just keep saying this over and over. I'm glad they're on our side.
Yeah. Hi there.
Questions?
Oh, by the way, you're awesome.
Well, thank you. Another one.
My question to you is, you do a great job playing an XO. Did you mirror an actual naval officer?
My dad.
No?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't an officer. But I tried, like I said, in the early going, I was able to meet the captain of the ship, Captain Wheeldryer, and he, just the way his leadership skills and his comportment were something I tried to emulate. And the XO has a little more liberties of being, the hammer on board, and so I was able to do that. The captain has to be a little more diplomatic, because you want the guy at the top to be someone that everyone loves, and his second in command to be more of a dick. But not really, just, powerful. What's that? I am really one? What?
DragonCon, they just let it loose, yeah.
I missed the comment, sorry.
Yes, sir.
With it being on board a ship, obviously we saw you guys get to actually go on shore on the last episode, but are non-coastal areas pretty much going to be screwed on the show?
Are non-what areas?
Non-coastal areas.
Oh.
I mean, once we get into the show, how far can you actually go off the ship to be able to do some stuff?
Well, as long as we have fuel for the helicopter, we can go a few hundred miles inland, and then we're going to have to get ourselves some vehicles. But we have the weaponry, and again, I don't know who's seen it, what spoilers there are, but
Spoil us.
no, I'm not going to spoil too much. But
Yeah.
we do see land again, obviously, because you can't have the whole show just out at sea. There's just not enough people to deal with it. Our mission is to stay alive, find the cure, and save the world. So we have to save the world on land too. That's where most of the people reside.
Yeah. So don't worry,
Captain
Midwest.
Obvious. Yeah, we will see some adventures.
All right. Hi there.
Hello. My dad was in the Navy, and he the one that got me part of the show. And I just want to know what precautions you guys take, like the writers and stuff, to make sure it's realistic. Because he never, at any point, has said, like this isn't realistic or something. He always says that like this is like how it actually is. So, what steps do you guys take to make sure that it's realistic?
Well, we had terrific technical advisors. We had captains and a couple of commanders who were right there with us, and they were, like I say, detached from the Navy day in and day out to make sure that we were on point. So, just tell them that we had some guys in the chain of command that made sure that we were authentic, because that's one thing that Michael Bay wants to do. That's one thing we want to do, is make sure that we portray the Navy in a respectful and authentic way within the world that we've created. Obviously, this apocalyptic world that, God forbid, happens. But you've seen Ebola, and you've seen these nasty viruses, and we know there are bioweapons out there. It's not completely outside the realm of possibility. The book was more based on a nuclear attack, nuclear holocaust. That we sort of updated that. But please tell your father thank you for his service, and my regards and respect.
Is he with us? Is he
here? Is he here?
Okay. Well,
All right. Is he your hero?
Yeah, my dad is my
Cool. That's cool.
cool. How heavily involved is Michael Bay? Is he a pretty much constant presence on set? I mean, he's a busy guy. That guy's involved in a lot of stuff.
He was very busy. He was obviously completing Transformers. He did visit us a few times, but he's, as with any good leader, strong leader, you delegate to people that you trust. And the team that he has compiled were pretty much in charge, and he trusted them to, complete his vision along with the network. Everyone was in sync. They committed a lot of resources to this project, and they wanted to make sure they got it as right as they could. And we have a great cast from Eric Dane on down. The captain is I've been blessed working on shows with guys like Nathan Fillion and Zach Levi on Firefly and Chuck. And those guys have the weight of the show on their shoulders as far as in front of the camera. Our department heads, and Eric Dane is another extremely strong presence, and he's a nice guy, a good family man, and he's our rock.
Right. Do we have
And he's mixed. For you ladies out there.
Talk about the very first time that you met him. Was it after you'd been cast? Had you known each other before?
No, it was after I got cast. I just went down there and we started working. It was pretty quick.
Yeah. Cool. Hi.
Do you have a question, sir?
Yes, I think I do. First of all, thank you for hours and hours of just brilliant screen enjoyment. And I have a question. It's not specific to Last Ship or any of the shows, but I mean, you delivered so many thousands of just incredible lines. You know, like, let's see, nothing. That makes nothing. They say it's all timing. Do you have any comments about how you time a line, how you get a response just right in terms of timing?
Again, I've been blessed working with folks that are very funny, like Nathan and Zach. And The Last Ship is not really geared towards... There's some gallows humor we can have. There's some dark comedy that we might bring in. And I consider myself sniper funny. If my epitaph has anything... Christopher Walken was interviewed. Let me go off on this tangent for a second. Christopher Walken was on Inside the Actors Studio, and he was asked, James Lipton would ask everyone, what do you want your epitaph to be? And Walken said, he was right. So I want mine to be, he was sniper funny. But yeah, so I'm more kind of the straight man than the laugh riot yakety yak. But you have to have both. You have to be Laurel and Hardy, I guess. Which one am I? I would be. You would be Laurel. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is too young for you kids.
So there was once this comedic duo.
Yes, right, okay.
Right.
I'm Teller to Ben. How's that?
There you go.
I'm the quiet one that eats razor blades. God, those guys are great. Yes?
I saw a panel with you, I think it was last year, you talked about going to auditions and being asked how tall you are and knowing that...
A little closer to the microphone.
Yes.
I saw a panel with you last year where you talked about going to auditions, and once they asked how tall you were, you knew you weren't getting the gig. But how did you go about, how were you cast in Last Ship? Was it through an audition process or direct?
Well, the honest truth is I auditioned and didn't get the job. The guy who did get the job, he had a family emergency and was forced to stop. Yeah. Did you see Chuck? He had a trip to Hawaii. It was truly a family tragedy and an emergency. So he was the first choice, I was second choice, and the first choice was not as tall as I am. But I was right there, and as they say in show business, the show must go on. But you're right, I did say this to my wife whenever I would come home from an audition. Her first question was, so how'd it go? Oh, good. Did they ask you how tall you are? Yes. You didn't get the job.
How tall are you?
How tall was it? I'm 6'4", 6'4 and a half, something like that. Yeah.
Are you going to try to kick him off the panel now? Because that's that question. When they're putting together a show that it could go on forever or it could get canceled very quickly, do they have a show Bible and character arc for you, kind of extending out over multiple seasons?
Yeah, and you've seen hints of that in the early going. In first season, they have a vision for it, but until you get the nod and then you're successful enough to be picked up for the second season, the writers really don't get down to brass tacks and create the show going forward. But it looks like we have something that could go for a while, and we really believe in it. We're going to make it as good as we can and as exciting as we can and as sexy as we can. And there are a lot of young characters that are coming forward, and their characters will grow, and the ship will remain an integral part of the show while we still have obviously groups on land that we have to deal with. How do we save the world? You got to carry it forward. And the beautiful thing about the Navy is that it has this system of governance that is based on the Constitution and honor, courage, and commitment that we honor on the show and want to carry forward. How else do you regain civil society? How else do you regain some sort of order unless you have foundational documents and foundational principles upon which to build? And that's why the Navy is such a great platform for this idea.
Yeah.
God bless America.
Captain America, yeah, thank you, Captain.
Thank you. My name's Heather. I'm a health scientist, so I'm going to ask a question more in the science realm. But I first wanted to say I was really excited to watch the pilot sitting on a couch with my dad, who's retired Navy, and me as a scientist, kind of watching from both perspectives what's going on in the pilot episode of the show. And I'm curious how much CDC has been consulted or advises in terms of what's going on the ship with the doctor and developing the vaccine and all of that. So if you could kind of let us know what they do from the science perspective, because you've said you've had captains and other members of the Navy kind of advising you getting the Navy part right. But how about the science?
Sure. And as far as the Navy portion goes, we're as close as we can get, but I have, which is the beautiful thing about online stuff, is you get nitpickers who are experts in engineering, per se, and they'll say, well, that's just not, an engineer would know, but as far as the science goes, it's not my realm of expertise, but I do know that we do have advisors that are aboard, and we still get some science-y doctors that, science-y is a term I learned from Jaws. It's akin to truthy. Truthiness is science-y, but we do have advisors, medical advisors, and they've done their research. And for those of you that know things about viruses and how they're transmitted, there are perhaps some liberties we take, but this is near future. It's still this is definitely still sci-fi, so that's why I think it's been wonderful that the sci-fi community has embraced it to a certain degree, even though it's still new. Sense of trepidation, like how long is this show going to go? And I don't know why people have that. They're worried like the show's going to go away or something. Not if I have anything to say about it.
Thank you.
And please keep the nitpicking coming, because we like it. Our producers are... No, it's good. Our producers are online, and they read that stuff. They're like, oh yeah, we'll fix that. We'll keep that. We'll build upon that.
Yeah.
As long as it checks out. Journalism.
Oh, you're real. Okay.
Take your time. It's all right.
Hold on. What's your name, darling?
Sydney,
Sydney? Where are you from?
Alabama.
Alabama? Okay. Do you have a question about the last ship?
No, I just have
Please hold the microphone a little closer to your mouth so we can hear you. Okay. Take your time. Take a breath. You want some water? Come here.
The message of the day is hydration, guys. Very important.
I just want you to know that's exactly the reaction my wife had when she first set eyes on me. You're in good company. It's all good. I love you, baby. Now, just take a deep breath and ask your question. It's cool. We love you.
What are some of your pre-show rituals, or stuff that you do to prepare yourself before you do a scene or whatever?
What do I do preparing myself for going into a scene?
Yeah, pre-show.
Oh, pre-show. It's very important to know your moment before you start a scene. And there are a few little techniques and tricks that we have. But yeah, you always want to make sure you're on point about what happened just previously, because you do shoot out of order. On this show, we were shooting episode 3 episode 4, 5, well not 4, episode 3, 5, 6, and 7 all at the same time. So we were jumping back and forth because we had to, so the first season Bible was in place. And that's one of the benefits of being delayed from the pickup to actually shooting. They had time to really get that first season in place. But we were shooting those 3, 5, 6, and 7 all at the same time, jumping from different location to location. So we had to make sure, well, wait a minute, this is episodes, you would do like scene 6, episode 3, then you do scene 4, episode 7, then you go back to episode 5, all in the same day. And you go, where the hell are we? But because they had all the scripts in place, the script supervisor was able to give us that. But it was important to make sure you'd go, wait a minute, where are we? Oh, right. Okay, boom. Just be on the same page. And then you just take a deep breath, walk in, ask your question, and oh no, that's what you do in panels. You just take a deep breath, and I like to say bomb with love. That's from an old movie called Ticket to Heaven. I don't know if anybody saw that movie. Kim Cattrall is one of her first movies. It's a cult movie, but they do this ritual, bomb with love, bomb with love. And my wife taught me this going into testing for shows. There's a lot of pressure and there's competition right there. And there are certain stages that you go through. You meet the producers. Then if they like you, you go forward with a couple other people to the studio. And then if they like you, you go forward to the network. And then you're down to 2 or 3 people for the role. And she recommended, because it's nerve-wracking. The stakes are high. You want to do well. And she advised, just love your competition. And that takes really all the pressure off. If you go there, then, because most of them don't do it. They're like, yeah. They don't know that little trick. I'm giving away a secret. But it's okay. I'm okay now. It's like golf. I don't know if any of you are golfers or sports fans, or if you play sports or even gaming. If you're chess players or gamers, when you're playing, you want to beat your opponent while they're playing their best. So if you go in with love in the audition process and you win, and you beat them at their best, the highest stakes, you can walk out of there going, yeah. And if you bomb with love, quote unquote, you can walk out of there at least patting yourself on the back saying, I did the best I could and they're going to hire me or not. As opposed to going, oh, I blew it, I freaked out, I forgot my lines, blah, blah, blah. That's not stuff you can do. So fear is a killer. Stay away from that. What do we have to fear? Why worry? It doesn't make you live longer.
At what point of your career did you learn that, or did your wife impart that wisdom?
She had been trying to teach me that I've been married 25 years. She'd been trying to teach me that for the first, thank you. She'd been trying to teach me that for the first 10. I think it took me about 10 or so years to get to get it.
Do you remember the job that you first applied it for?
I think it was X-Files. Yeah, X-Files.
Yeah.
Right about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
I had a question. I was wondering if there was a singular moment that you've either had on screen or off screen from this season that you like above all other ones, that you have like a key moment.
As a person or as a character?
As a person.
Personally? My favorite is my relationship with the captain, Eric, and the younger crew, and the unfolding relationship with the doctor, because I think the way they're arcing that is really cool. But personal relationship, Eric's my pal now. It's great. My kids are pretty much grown. His are still very young, so we get to talk a lot about kids and raising kids, and we play cards, and we shoot the shit, and smoke cigars. Sorry, kids. Salty talk. Yeah. We are salty. So that and meeting the sailors, meeting the officers on down. I did have an experience being invited to the Surface Navy Association in Washington, D.C. to represent the show, and they gave me an honorary surface warfare officer commission, which I hold as one of the highest points of my life. It was great. There's a dining out experiences. For those of you in the Navy who are familiar with the dining out, it's bawdy and fun, and I tricked them into giving me an honorary commission. So when I left, I just wanted to say, from one surface warfare SWO to the real deal, and they were like, yeah.
Yeah.
That. Oh, that and being flown out on a search and rescue helicopter during Fleet Week in New York City to the USS Oak Hill and sailing up into New York Harbor with the USS Cole, rendering honors to the USS Cole and rendering honors to Ground Zero in New York Harbor has been, just amazing. Sailing up the Hudson.
So then you really feel the weight of the responsibility of this role.
I do, yeah. I don't want to get it wrong. I want to be able to, stay within the action-adventure bits, get some grief about, the captain, the XO, they wouldn't go off ship. Well, then you don't have a show.
Yeah.
Because we're going to go off and kick some ass, okay? Thank you.
And in post-apocalypse, a viral apocalypse, yeah.
We can take some liberties.
Yeah, it is sci-fi.
So you and the captain don't always see eye to eye on the ship. Do you think that sometime in the future that, let's see, you might say portray or
go against
Did you say
Right.
betray?
yeah?
Well,
I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but
again, for those of you that have seen episode 10, I can't speak to anything really beyond that, except is that, look, mutiny is something that's not in my front window, and I think that would be needless. But the XO captain relationship is one of the XO needs to play devil's advocate, as long as it's in a respectful. They're peers. They're both commanders. It's just the captain has the final say aboard. So the XO is entitled to say in a private, respectful way, play devil's advocate. Are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you positive this is the right call, the right orders? And he's constantly there in his ear. And as peers, you can do that to make sure that the mission is completed. The goal is the mission. The mission is the highest purpose. So. But I don't even want to go down that road, talking about it story-wise or approaching it that way. In my mind, I haven't seen season 2 script, but
Let's avoid the M word, mutiny. Yeah.
Unlikely that word will be anywhere near our show.
Well, it would sort of undermine the core concept of the show in a lot of ways. The cast that's at play, So yeah. Probably not.
But doesn't mean that they can't get into a fist fight about something. Just don't do it in front of the crew. Come here, Slattery. Boom, close the door. All right, we're gonna throw that. I don't know. I haven't read it. I don't know at this point.
Hi there.
Hi there, Adam. My name's Jason, and I'm a huge fan of yours. I just want to say really quick that my all-time favorite movie that you done was My Bodyguard.
Thank you.
And everything. Because it made me, when I was growing up, being a bigger guy, always wanting to look out for, the other people. And that's awesome. My question to you is, you've done so many memorable characters and stuff. Is there any particular one that stands out above anything else? Not only playing that character, but you can apply to your real life that is just set in motion, kind of,
You're asking me which my favorite is, or which is the most near and dear to my heart, or
near to your heart, character you ever played?
It's hard to pinpoint one. I have what I like to call mile markers, and My Bodyguard is the first one. It changed my life. It gave me a direction. I worked with people that I love and know to this day, who are dear friends. It sort of gave me a kick in the ass to become a man, as much as you can in this business, William Holden once said it's a very strange profession for a grown man. While he was being applied powder, That's what they do. But honestly, this is not a secret. I didn't get to finish the arc of Jane Cobb, so that one still holds this place in my heart. And I wanted to finish, and I wanted to finish it. I mean, the movie does that in a certain degree, but it's kind of started as a TV thing, so you wanted to arc it out over time, and it got cut short. It really would have been interesting to see where he would have gone, and I'm sure Joss would have made it uncomfortable in places.
Do a Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. We might be getting a little far down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're developing a new character,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And one more thing, thank you again as a U.S. veteran. Also, thank you. God bless.
Thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you. When you're developing a new character, do you reflect back on your previous work as far as, I don't want to do that kind of beat again, or do you keep these things in mind so you don't cover any of the same territory again?
Well, I've grown, obviously, as an individual, matured a bit. My kids anyone who's raised kids knows that deal. There have been roles that I've done that I like to call connective tissue. There are some things that I not want to do again. Any sort of the violence towards the weak. I prefer taking the bad guys head on, or playing a rough guy, an anti-hero, but only fighting against other equally tough men or women, and so that's things I would avoid.
But did you keep any of that in mind as you're kind of developing Mike?
No.
I asked, he answered.
Not so much. The uniform sort of diffuses that. You put on that uniform, it sort of, I'm this guy.
Hi. So obviously the show is about an apocalyptic scenario.
Could you talk
The show
a
is-
little bit louder?
Can you hear
You're
me?
talking over a baby.
So obviously the show is about an apocalyptic scenario with the virus. Other people have different ideas of what would be the most likely apocalypse. My brother and I argue zombies versus machines. I was just wondering if you had a favorite apocalyptic scenario, what you would pick as most likely or the most fun.
Favorite. So how are we all going to die? What's your preferred?
My belief is that the human race will be extinct in ice, not fire.
So then Captain America is fine over here because she already survived that once. So you got covered.
But that's a long way away, and it will be people that you don't know or care about. It will be so long from now it won't matter. So, live life with Blue Sun. Yeah, but obviously we do have to remain vigilant.
Watch out for both zombies and machines.
Well, I'm more worried about bad guys than I am about viruses.
Yeah. So yay for bad. Are you cheering for bad guys, right? Yeah.
No, they're cheering my answer. Yeah. Yes. Oh wait.
Observe if you can grab the mic over there and hop in that.
Oh, you have.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. You have good lungs. Hit it.
Thank you. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but how did you feel about Tex and the scientists?
I think we're fine with spoilers. It's been like a week since the episode aired, so.
No. It's a little early. I love the guy who plays Texas, John Piper Ferguson. Great actor, great character. Love him. Wonderful guy. And we will see great things from him going forward. Yeah.
You feel sorry for them though?
I don't feel sorry for anybody. Or as my mom used to say, solve your own problems!
Sometimes that's not such a bad life philosophy that I think a lot of us could probably take.
I told my son when he said, "Can I have some money?" No.
Hi there.
Hi. My name's Lyrica. I was just, like you were saying, apocalyptic society, like where you would want the world to end. And you said something about fire and ice. And I was wondering if you knew the poem by Robert Frost, Fire and Ice.
No. You want to? Do you know it?
Yeah.
Is it long?
No, it's like 2 paragraphs. Like,
Hit it. Go.
Some say the
Go.
Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I hold this truth to be I said the wrong line, sorry.
Breathe.
But if it had to perish twice, I know enough of hate to say that destruction ice is also great and would suffice.
Okay. That Robert Frost. We should bring him up on the panel sometime.
You know, he was one of my mom's favorite poets. He was. But I didn't read it because poetry. Boy, I look like a poet. I'm a Clancy guy. But thank you for that.
Hi there.
One of the aspects I like about the last show is that, or last ship, excuse me, is that they're like one arc, just one night shows. Of course, it's got the whole Save the World, but do they plan to continue the single arc shows that they do now? The season finale is the only one that you've actually had to go 2 shows to find out what happens. Like, you looking for monkeys, okay? By the end of the show, you found the monkeys. You didn't go, oh, we almost found the monkeys, now we got to go find them again. Do they plan to continue that single show arc of the series?
You mean standalones as opposed to...
standalone.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen the... we've had conversations, but I couldn't speak that far out in advance until I actually read it, so
yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we know
it's going to be great. It's going to be great no matter. Either way, it's going to be great.
But right now, somewhere in Los Angeles, there are writers typing furiously to read these scripts.
Yeah, and they're in there just throwing. What are we going to do?
Yeah, what are we going to do?
No, they're on top of it.
Yeah.
And the advantage of having a show that's a hit is that it attracts the best writers in the business. So you're going to get a team that's going to be as strong as they come. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hi there.
Actually, Kelly does have a question, but she had to help us work it. So we're going to let Kelly ask our question now.
Okay.
All right.
This is about the El Toro episode. And you had to deal with the monkeys, going to get the monkeys. And I know those were co-stars, and how was it like to work with those types of co-stars, the little furry co-stars?
Smelly.
I wanted to give you a chance to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, they kept diapers on them most of the time, believe it or not. And when we were ready to roll, they would remove the diapers. That was fun. I didn't have to do it, but I observed. Not a big fan of monkey shit. Just not. Yeah, but they're amazing creatures. They're really cool to be up close like that. I was just afraid of getting bitten. I don't want to get bitten by some rabbit monkey. Oh gosh. They do their scene stealing sons of. Let me tell you a story from Wyatt Earp. Can I backtrack? Yeah. Forgive me, kids. This small little blurb there. So I'm doing Wyatt Earp, and I had like 3 or 4 lines in that movie down in Santa Fe, and we're working at the church ranch, and we're riding horses and doing the gunfight at the OK Corral. I was there for 3 months doing the gunfight at the OK Corral, and it was just a ball. And all the guys were great. We smoked cigars, play cards, ride horses, shoot guns. It was great. And we would go out to dinner at a nice place called the Coyote Cafe, and we were there one night, me and 3, 4 of the other cast members, and my brother who had driven down. And my brother's not in the game at all. He just came down for a visit and to hang out. So at the end of dinner, Kevin Costner is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's having dinner with the studio heads at another table, and he saunters over as we're just having our last finishing up. And he came over and said, you know, boys, I just want to thank you for being here. You guys are wonderful. You're terrific. And, I'm sorry, the night before, there was a screening of Dailies, and my brother was in it. We had put him in the costume, and he was sitting in the courtroom. And he's right behind Kevin, but he's slightly out of focus. He's just sitting there in a hat and just quiet, didn't move. But it's my brother right behind Kevin, in frame. And in the screening, we would have popcorn, and when he came on, we were like, John, yay! And Kevin's like, what the hell is So then, fast forward to the restaurant that night, Kevin picked up our tab, and, 6, 7, 8 guys at the Coyote Cafe was not cheap, and he was nice enough just, hey, we're not, no, you didn't have to. And he goes, shut up, I just love you guys, and I want to say thank you, wonderful, enjoyed your meal, and I got to get back to the bosses. And we're like, hey, thank you very much. He turns around, takes about 3 or 4 steps, he turns back, he looks my brother right in the face, and goes, and you seen stealing son of a bitch. Don't come back. And he turns and walks away. And my brother's like, is he serious? Is he serious? He hates me. Like, no, he's just messing with you, brother. It's okay. So that's what I say to anybody that I see who's like doing nothing, or River in Firefly in summer. You seen stealing son of a bitch? What are you doing? That was my tangent. What was the question?
So your brother and monkeys.
Monkeys. Yeah, my brother's a monkey.
Yeah, that's what he was getting to. Yeah.
And actually, he was one of the best rock climbers in the country. So he is like a monkey. He would climb up rock walls better than pretty much anybody, or as well as anybody. So yeah, my brother's a monkey. We had a tree house when I was a kid. So
Hi there.
Hi. I'm not sure when filming wrapped up, but I was wondering what the cast reaction was with Russians being an adversary in the show and then the escalating situation in Ukraine.
Well, it makes sense. The superpowers would have some of their ships around, and some rogue elements would be out there, and you have to have an adversary. And I thought the guy who played that, he's great. He's a classically trained Russian stage actor, and he was fantastic. A bit camp, but terrific. And he smoked a cigar almost as well as I do. Or he certainly enjoyed it as much as I do.
What's your favorite kind of cigar? This is my question, because I'm a cigar smoker. So what's your favorite?
Well, there's so many. I like Padron Anniversarios are nice. The Opus X's are good. I've had some Cuban ones, which I know is contraband, but I mean, I'm going to admit it. I've had one handed to me, and I will smoke it just because I didn't pay for it.
And it's good.
And it's good. Because that's like a microclimate there. Yeah, there are a few. There's so many.
Yeah, cool.
Hi. There was a song written about you in a place called Canton.
Sing it.
The hero of Canton. All right.
Niagara Falls.
So it's stuck in particular with a good group of friends of mine here, and I was just curious if it stuck with you as well, if you ever use it to psych yourself up, or just wake up in the morning and have to sing it when you look in the mirror.
My moment before. I gotta go on the bridge and give orders. I'm gonna sing the hero of Canton to myself. Better yet, I'm just gonna go to YouTube and watch the video of me singing it. Yeah. It's there. It lives there. Embarrassingly so. Like StarQuest 2. Robert Englund and I did this crappy little movie called StarQuest 2 for Roger Corman once, and whenever I see Robert, I run into Robert occasionally, and he's like, remember that movie? Yeah, they tricked us. I know. It's like... who was it? Gielgud, and there were some other great actors in Caligula. And when they found out that they'd added in the blue stuff, they were shocked. That's kind of how we felt. On a smaller scale.
How you doing?
Good.
A friend of mine wanted to know which one you prefer, cookies or brownies?
Good question.
The Toll House cookie, well done, is the best cookie in the world. Yeah. Good Toll House cookie is just magic with lots of chips. I like it with lots of chips. Really chocolatey and messy, and a big tall glass of milk. What's that? Chewy. Yeah. Chewy. Yeah. So, but brownies are nice too. Yeah.
And we have the last question right here.
It can't be that. Wow. Okay.
Well, you
Last
got 2
question.
more minutes.
The last question in the last ship panel.
So poetic. And he may not ask the question. Are you going to ask the question?
It was.
He actually wants to be the last question. We're trying to time it the whole time.
What's that? Stop talking over each other.
You want to go now?
Who's up?
So I'm an active duty naval officer, and there's a
Wait, can't hear you.
There's a tradition that I love
Yeah.
about the challenge coin, and you issued that to me,
Yep.
and I wish to honor that for you. So will you go ahead and explain what the challenge coin is and what that's about?
Well, different units have their own coins made up, and they keep them with them. And the tradition is to bring the coin out and throw it on the bar. And if the opposing player, doesn't have a coin, he owes them a beer. Where's my beer, man?
Actually, it's right here.
Awesome. We brought 60.
Man, now I wish I had a coin.
Wow. All right. You're an honorary man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Honorable individual. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the beer. And it's cold, too. Here. You get one.
Thank you for your service. All right.
You want one? Here. Say hello. Select.
Best panel ever.
It is. All right. There's going to be 2 leftover beers for those of you. The other beautiful thing, are these twist off?
All right.
But what you can do with a good challenge coin. Salute. To DragonCon.
Salute, DragonCon. Thank you, DragonCon. You guys have a great night. Adam Baldwin.